were two teenage sweethearts who had fallen out. The boy tried to offer flowers and a love note by way of apology. These seem to have been rejected. Things then became out of hand, according to the witnesses. He pulled a very large 12-inch long serrated blade from underneath his school blazer and started trying to attack the girl. According to the witnesses, there was a friend of the girl who somehow intervened, apparently trying to save her. She sustained a fatal wound to the neck.
As we just heard in the news, the 15-year-old girl who was stabbed to death in Croydon is believed to have been trying to protect a friend. Let's speak to Mike Sullivan, who is the Sun's crime editor. Good morning to you, Mike.
Good morning, Asma.
Can you take us through the timeline of what actually happened in this horrendous incident?
Well, it's just a very ordinary, everyday scene with children on a bus going to school. In this instance, there were two teenage sweethearts who had fallen out. The boy tried to offer flowers and a love note by way of apology. These seem to have been rejected. Things then became out of hand, according to the witnesses. He pulled a very large 12-inch long serrated blade from underneath his school blazer and started trying to attack the girl. According to the witnesses, there was a friend of the girl who somehow intervened, apparently trying to save her. She sustained a fatal wound to the neck as this incident spilled over from the bus onto the pavement. And then really, truly shocking scenes with the bus driver trying to resuscitate the girl, being helped by members of the public. In the meantime, this boy appears to have got on a bus and gone elsewhere. But it raises serious questions, obviously, because firstly, this level of violence among people so young, it really has, I think, should be a national consciousness moment, really, because it is one of those kind of seminal points where you think, is a girl safe going to school? Well, no, she wasn't. So it's a shocking story of our times.
Yes, and so often when we talk about knife crime, we talk about certain types of knives and you know who they're available to and why they're available and you know many people say, oh, well, we carry knives for protection and self-defense and all the rest of it, and you know this obviously looks like a completely different scenario. What is the picture of knife crime in the UK, specifically in you know this kind of age group?
Well, a lot of this stuff plays out on social media. And as far as knives go, there's this issue with zombie knife, which this weapon used yesterday apparently seems to be, and they are still legally available on the internet. You can walk into any shop and buy a large knife, but I suspect if you were young, teenager, and the seller had any kind of social responsibility, then they would refuse to sell that weapon. But they are available on the internet, so there's an issue there.
Mike, thank you for talking to us. That is Mike Sullivan, who is the Sun's crime editor, just talking about that horrendous incident. Because every time something like this happens, you start to think about your own children, godchildren, nieces, nephews, and you just think about just the kind of unprotected spaces that exist. I mean, you know, getting on a bus to and from school should be a really tedious workaday thing. Yeah. This kind of stuff should not be going on.
And two of my children are at this moment doing exactly that. That's the thing you think of. You just think they're getting on a bus and who knows who's there, and how you actually change the policy on knife crime is a thing we can continue to debate. But the fact that this exists, and the picture on the front of the Times is heartbreaking, because you see this forensic officer fully togged up, holding a rose in a plastic tube. We'll see where that story goes. Obviously, it's a very live criminal investigation, so we're able to talk more about the detail. But this issue of where knife crime has got to in this country seems to be one that does deserve further scrutiny.